We made the call. Very narrowly. It appears as though silver could end the day above $48, though at the moment it's barely making it. Later in the day, though, it was much farther ahead. As we move into next week's exploration, let's review what transpired and what we might anticipate. It appears that silver is unstoppable at this point, despite encountering a few setbacks here and there. Just a 2% decrease in a single day. It couldn't help but climb back up the very next day. That concludes our look at silver as it approaches its nominal all-time high of about 50 Oz. A couple of articles that address the current situation are going to be cited by me. However, I must first bring to your attention Summit Metals, our channel sponsor, before we delve into it. If you are in the market for gold or silver, Summit Metals is the place to go. Among the many bullion dealers operating today, they are among the most rapidly expanding. Not to mention, they're busier than ever. So, go ahead and look at them. Their lightning fast shipping and excellent customer service are the things that people are talking about. Therefore, I've provided a link in the description for your convenience. But you should see them. What the hey with silver? It is up, in fact, today. Even gold is up, though not to the same extent as silver. With a gain of 28.60, gold is up 0.74% at 3,986.10. It was unable to surpass the $3,900 threshold. On the other hand, gold is booming, without a doubt. Despite a couple of crazy days, gold is now moving slowly but steadily. However, its reaction is different from that of silver. A lot more unpredictable. Fortunately, the ask price for silver is $48.02, a 2% increase from where it was. A sum of $47.90 is being offered for auction. The fact that there is a 0.12 gap between the two indicates that the market is steady and moving upwards. So, silver has had quite the roller coaster ride. Today, silver did hit a high of 48.42. Getting back up off the low of 46.58 it hit in earlier trading days and recouping some of its losses. So, I wanted to know if anyone who watched my Sunday night market watch polled whether they thought silver will reach $48 by the weekend's end. So yes, we did. In the very last moments of trading, it may, of course, retrace its steps. However, this being said, the current gold to silver ratio is 81.09. It would be great if that figure dropped into the 70s. The truth is that it ought to be in the 60s, if not lower. However, our reality differs from that. If you choose to believe that, this is basically the new normal. The US government shutdown is still going strong, marking the third day. And for the time being, at least, there appears to be no way to put a stop to it. There has been no budge from Democrats in response to President Trump's threats to lay off thousands of federal employees, and the current impasse might lead to furloughs and a protracted interruption of government services in the United States. According to Jim Wyckoff, the leaders of both parties are remaining true to their platforms, as the first government shutdown in over 7 years approaches its third day. According to a Bloomberg story, lower-level negotiations have not succeeded in reaching an agreement, and another Senate vote on a temporary budget package that the House passed is expected to also fail on Friday. Since the Senate is expected to avoid holding votes over the weekend, the shutdown will likely be extended into next week, as the two parties continue to blame each other for the inability to reach an agreement. The problem is, I'd rather not dwell on the politics of the matter. I feel strongly about it. Still, that is having an effect on the price of gold and silver. I believe we will retain them, and they will remain at least at their current level, if not improve little, as long as this continues. However, additional matters also exist. The role of geopolitics is also significant. Because Trump has set a deadline of Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which happens to be when the markets open up in Asia, there is a chance that the Hamas battle might cease, or at least begin to end, by that time. Like every week, I'll be here on Sunday night to broadcast the market opening live. Then I'm hoping you'll come along with me, because that could affect the direction of gold and silver prices next week. After hours of trading, financial markets throughout the world were in a state of flux. Opening at all-time highs, US stock indices are expected to make a modest upward move as the New York Day session gets underway. Thus, we are witnessing the manifestation of this type of data in this context. However, there are others who share my belief that silver prices will continue to rise. Solar and technology demand in industry is a major factor. As reported by financialcontent.com, it is experiencing an unprecedented surge in price. Additionally, the price of silver has risen dramatically. The current price is within $2 of its all-time high. And if we keep working at this pace for the next 2 weeks, we could reach our goal. Plus, it's quite impressive. The dollar index is slightly lower at the moment, but that is before I go into those fundamentals. From 97.69, it has dropped 0.14. For a long period, we did not observe a dollar index going beyond 100. Thus, it can be concluded that it is offline. We also know that this will not alter because there will be other interest rate reduction in the near future. And we will witness it. At the meeting in October, the question is, how much of a cut can we expect here? What fraction of a point is it going to be? With those prospects, silver is looking excellent either way. What we are witnessing, though, is that the rise in silver price has both local and worldwide ramifications. Investors may see this as a hint that silver's value is being reassessed, shifting from its historical roles as a precious metal and safe haven asset to its vital role as an industrial commodity. It means that input costs for companies that use silver, including electronics and solar panel makers, are going up, which could affect production methods and pricing. Due to the ongoing supply shortage, silver prices have been steadily rising, which could mean that the metal's heyday is far from finished, sending prices soaring to new heights and altering investing strategies. Now, that's an interesting thought, reassessing the value of silver based on its inherent qualities, which have been determined by human perceptions of it throughout history. The cost has clouded my judgment, I feel. And the price still distorts it. Based on the price, I think it's undervalued. In that case, what are the long-term consequences? I am uncertain. However, when we physically grasp it, we experience savings that are not related to the system. We use these monies as our yardstick. However, according to the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, these currencies are intentionally depreciated annually. Even if the Federal Reserve achieves its inflation objective of 2%, the value of the currency will fall because of all the things the Fed does. A yearly decline of 2% in purchasing power is still inflation. It cannot be avoided in any other manner. However, silver's value proposition remains unchanged when considering the long term. That is inherent just by virtue of being itself. Obviously, human judgments throughout history serve as a benchmark. You might say it has historical value, but I prefer to think of it in terms of the metal's intrinsic qualities, which are worth more than monetary worth. And with over 10,000 uses for silver, we're witnessing that more and more. Atop the periodic table, it has more variations than any other metal. There is no substitute metal. Metals such as copper are now significantly more utilized. Likewise, iron. However, silver has far more practical uses for it. The reason for this is related to the material's physical characteristics. Industrial use lies at the heart of the present silver price increase, which is a narrative of basic supply and demand. Now, silver's performance since October has been absolutely remarkable, considering it started the year at around $28.92 per ounce. At 27.5%, silver had its highest quarterly performance in the past 5 years in just the third quarter of this year. The indispensability of silver in high-performance applications, its unparalleled electrical and thermal conductivity, and the paramount importance of efficiency are the driving forces behind the continued momentum, which saw a 16.1% growth in September. We are also aware of the underlying dynamics at work in the markets and the reality of the supply shortage. If we haven't already, we will, by even the most cautious forecasts, likely achieve that mark this year or early next. That has been going on for 5 years now. As a result, the amount of silver required to satisfy demand is not going to magically exist. Silver is a metal that is resistant to recessions, while not completely immune to them, particularly in the near run. This is why I believe it will continue to rise in price. Silver prices will nosedive in the event of a severe economic recession. However, I believe that this will not last forever due to the fundamentals of demand, particularly in sectors that are resistant to or completely unaffected by economic downturns, such as healthcare and government programs involving green energy applications, artificial intelligence data centers, and military use. The military is making extensive use of silver. Due to the electrification of everything, the availability of data, intelligence, and supercomputers, no one knows for sure how much, but it is more than ever before. If you have been patiently adding to your silver holdings over the past few decades and have remained with the metal during its rather flat trading performance, today could be a good day for you. Even if this channel was around throughout one of those times, my feelings on silver have never changed. Silver is more than just a commodity with a price tag. Even more individuals fail to grasp that. There is more to silver than its price. Therefore, even if it falls drastically, you should keep your head held high. Its worth is something that, over time, will only grow. Alternately, its value can stay the same, while the price keeps going up until there's a reset. Post your comments below and tell me what you think. I enjoy keeping you updated on the current happenings in the precious metals industry. If you find value in what I do here, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and enable alerts so that you may be informed of the latest video when it arrives on your device. After this, I just want to say how much I appreciate you watching and asking that you hit the like, share, comment, and subscribe button.